Michigan. And I'm here right now doing some training for a little bit before I go on to Atlanta to help them out there. But I'm super excited. Thank you guys so much for having me here. It's a great spot to be in, as you guys know. And I'm learning a lot from not only Andy and JD, but from you guys as well. I'm taking a lot from it every day. If you would, I put my number up here. I will be in the ops chair today. If you just want to text that number with your name so I can save it in so we can have some good communication today while you guys are out in the field getting that money. But Andy asked me before I did that just to kind of give a little bit of my story, as JD said. I think that's a really good idea, and I'm happy and excited to do so just because, as Devon was saying with transparency, I think it's really important if I'm going to help you guys out that you kind of know where I come from, situations I've been in, and what kind of brought me here today in front of you. Shared shit kind of brings people together, so if there's something in there that you guys hear, that you can connect with, that's what I'm really trying to see, and just, again, at the end of it, I'll let you know how special of a place this really is to work. So, worked out of Grand Rapids. I grew up about 2 hours north of there on the west side of Michigan, in a town called Silver Lake. It was a beautiful little place, a small little tourist town that just got loads and loads of people coming in to camp. They're famous for the sand dunes. People take up RVs, sand buggies, dirt bikes, all that sort of thing in there. It's a super popular place for those 3 months in the summer. And then after that, it really dies down, and it's located actually in the, when I was in high school, it was the second poorest city or county in Michigan. A lot to do with that has to do with the fact that everyone, when they leave for the summer, everyone that's left kind of really loves crystal meth. So it's a huge, hot spot, if you may, for that. And it causes a lot of damage to the community. Personally, I was definitely affected that. My dad, he fucking loves crystal meth. And that was something that I definitely dealt with, later, or earlier in my life, I should say. And it caused a lot of issues. My mom likes to, always point to a story. She was working, she's an angel. She worked 3 jobs at a gas station, attended warrants at the courthouse, ironically, and at a little boutique there in my hometown, just trying to put shit together. My dad wasn't really working or helping out much at all. And she had scrapped up a bunch of, money for Christmas gifts, and she actually sent him out to grab some presents for my sister and I, for the Christmas season. And she loves to say it, but he ended up coming back with a half a pound of weed. I think that might sound cool. You guys might like a half a pound of weed for Christmas, but my mom, needless to say, was pretty pissed. But she's a smart lady. She ended up divorcing him. I had visitation for a while. He, obviously wasn't the greatest guy. Some situations happened. Ended up having the court ordered a restraining order on him for my sister and I, so I hadn't really, that obviously cut off a lot of our relationship. But like I said, my mom was a super smart lady, used her good, beautiful looks to snag a guy from the neighboring town who was the athletic director at the high school, got us in a little bit of a better situation, put some good role models in our lives, and we were able to transfer to that school, which really helped. Like I said, he was the athletic director, my stepfather, and it really got me into sports. I was going whole hog, anytime that I could. I'd be playing or trying to get better. I had the luxury, he had the keys to the gym, so I was constantly in there, getting shots up, that sort of thing. That was a big part of my life. As you guys know, in high school, you sort of identify with something, and then you feel it super strong, and it kind of consumes your life. Football was one of those sports I played. I ended up getting just countless concussions. It was kind of right before the wave where people started really recognizing what, a concussion was or what it did or the impacts of it. So I wasn't necessarily getting, the proper treatment for those or really knowing that I had them at the time. And after that happened, I think through my freshman and sophomore year, a little bit into my junior, I started to notice the effects. I was throwing up daily. I would have seizures, all different types of stuff, and it really, affected my life. It kind of incapacitated me to go to school. I ended up actually going to a hospital in Grand Rapids to a specialist, which is again where would go there 4 days a week. My grandpa would drive me. They had me doing 4 or 5 different types of therapy. And with that, though I wasn't in school, I actually just made the mark to not get held back because I missed so much school. They were going to have me redo my junior year, but they ended up letting me. Actually, there was like a little back room in the school because I couldn't really take the lights and stuff, and they just had one little lamp in there. As I started getting better, and they just gave me all the schoolwork, and I just had to complete, about 60% of that, and with a decent grade on it, and at my own pace, and that's how I kind of got through my junior year. I didn't really get to see friends and stuff. Obviously, that's another big part of your life when you're, growing up and you kind of identify with it. So I did. I lost like a lot of identity, I guess. The sports were taken away. I had friends, but like I couldn't go out and see them, do the fun stuff that I wanted to. And it just really put me, I was like a whole different person, honestly, because I don't know if you guys have had injuries or dealt with anything like that, but like the lasting effects once you get over, that main stuff, and then the stuff I was dealing with, like throwing up and the seizures and that sort of thing, your brain's just changed. Your chemistry and it's all weird. I started dealing with depression really bad, which I typically was a pretty happy-go-lucky type of guy. Anxiety was crazy. I was just angry all the time. My temper was like wild, which is not something that I really ever dealt with. And it was hard. It was hard on me. It was hard on the people around me because they could. My mom, obviously. I burst out in anger at her for the smallest thing, trying to help me, and it really affected her and kind of the loved ones around me. So fast forward a little while, I'm starting college. There was the summer going into it, and a little bit into my freshman year, dealt with some tragedy. I had my stepdad. He loved to ski. He wakes up at 5 o'clock in the morning every day in the summer, and he goes out with like 6 of his best friends, and they ski every single day. As soon as the ice off, they'll put on the wetsuits, and they'll get out there, and that's their little tradition. One morning, I was sleeping on the couch, and my mom, wakes me up, and she's screaming. She just says, "We gotta get in the car." I, go down to the lake. She points me where we need to go, and my stepdad's best friend had fallen, had an accident, and ended up having a heart attack in the water. For whatever reasons, the people couldn't bring him in, so I helped bring him in, had him in my arms, and then that's just something that's very kind of surreal to watch. And just a few months after that, my freshman year roommate at college was driving back. He had just reffed a rec baseball game for a tournament over the weekends in his hometown. He's driving back. We were all, doing our thing, gonna go out. Got a call from his mom. He fell asleep at the wheel, hit the only tree within like 5 miles, and killed himself there. And that's a lot to deal with. It's a lot to deal with, especially when your mind's already kind of in a weakened spot, which mine definitely was. And I definitely didn't take to it properly. I started, listening to the wrong people instead of, pulling those close that I needed to and having a positive environment. I kind of went the opposite way. Started listening to my buddies who, I thought they were cool. They're giving me hookups on drugs and stuff, and I'm paying a good price. And I'm turning to that. Like every single problem I had was just solved with, some sort of substance, rather than dealing with it directly. And it really took a downturn and for the worst. And it just got pretty dark there. Started dealing, mental health was probably as far as you could go, as far as down the hole. And I just wasn't where I wanted to be. I don't know how many of you have dealt with depression, but it literally makes it a task to kind of get out of bed in the morning. And long story short, I'm in college. I ended up dropping out of school, spent some time in jail, and I pretty much pushed out every positive influence that I had, in my life, and was in a terrible spot, not happy with myself, but not knowing, what to do with it, because again, I didn't have any sort of real positive influence. Of course, I had my mom there, my stepdad, my grandparents. They're all lovely people, but in my head, they didn't understand what I was going through. And I ended up seeking help, and I did get some more positive influences in my life that kind of helped me get to a spot where I could start really starting the process of thriving and doing what was right. And about that time, that's when Nick Bennett, who is my best friend in the whole world, he is actually going to Connecticut right now. I don't know if you guys have heard. He's doing great things, helping them start that up. He had offered me a job one day when I was laying on the couch, or he just said, hey, you should go in and apply. This is a great place, you make a lot of money, it's a good environment. And I did. I was actually on my way to go apply as a dishwasher at P.F. Chang's, and turned around because the opportunity to work with my friend was really what did it. And long story short, again, that's where I am here. Southwind has done way more than I would have ever expected. I just thought it was going to be, a job to make some money and hopefully, put myself in a better position. And the position that I'm in right now is way stronger than what I ever would have really imagined. I've always, wanted to do great things with my life, didn't know how. Southwind has truly given me a direction and a path to do exactly what I want to do, which is influence people in a positive way, help them out if they have their own struggles, and help people to just, be the person that they want to be. And like I said, I'm going to Atlanta Northeast in a little bit after I'm done getting trained up here. And the thought of that is just insane to me, coming from the spot that I was in. So I just want to emphasize that to you guys, whether you've dealt with, things similar to me, or, I'm sure there's a lot of you out there that have dealt with a lot worse, or maybe, a lot less, but either way, you really just got to recognize how special this place is. I think Pat left, but Pat, one of the first things he said to me, you notice I had my Chucks on, I was in the metal bin, he's like, yo, where are your steel toes? A lot of guys wouldn't, give a shit about that in companies and fellow employees that you work with. They're gonna, just see that, let it slide, next thing you got a fucking broken toe, fridge slams on it or something like that. Jack was fucking hungover as shit the other day. Somebody called him, got him into work. That shit is special because you don't get that. Most places, you'd have one as competitive as it is here, they're not gonna call you because they don't want you in there. They don't want more competition. They don't want that type of thing. Here, every single one of you, I can tell, I asked most of you, what your favorite part is about working here, and almost all of you said people and culture, and so you do recognize it, and just remember that when you're out there today. I'm gonna do my best to help lead you guys to a good win. And it's rainy, and it'll be easy to kind of, maybe slump, maybe not do everything that you're supposed to do, but just realize where you're at and the places that you can go, and let's go get this money.